Ladies and gentlemen to YouTube as well. And ladies and gentlemen on my Twitch channel right now, welcome. Welcome, welcome. As we fish away the last day of Legion, I decided that it was time to make a little update video. With the recent events of the Burning Hotel de Drasil, Old Soldier, pretty much leading into Battle for Azeroth, I've seen a lot of new souls finding their way to my channel, finding their way to the lore. What for me was the Wrathgate moment has a lot of people join us in the madness that is Warcraft lore. So a lot of you ask me, like, Noble, what is it that your channel does, and how could I, a mere lonely noob, get into the lore as well? Well, my YouTube channel, my goal with YouTube channel, which I started like, I started before that, but around Mr. Pandaria time, I started getting into the lore with the videos. But my goal with the channel is to one day cover every bit of lore that Warcraft has to offer. And I think we've been doing this for like 6 years now, something like that. And the upload schedule is, my promise as always, once a week on a Monday, we'll be doing a lore video, which is 15 to 30 minutes. And that can be a Q&A, it can be a story of a zone, a story of a character. We've just finished up the big-ass series of the story of Jaina Proudmoore. But also stories of Edge of Night, for example, that should be going on as you watch this video. So that is what I do on my YouTube channel, that's my promise, once a week on a Monday. And besides that, I mean, we've done videos on Hearthstone lore. I'm currently running the Midnight Nibblers, in which I tell a story all ASMR-wise and trying to get you to sleep. We also do the leveling series with Fury, which will make its return in Battle for Azeroth. And pretty much anything else I feel like uploading in between, that's on the other days, but the guarantee is always on a Monday. Next to that, I also stream over on Twitch, as this is recorded over at Twitch. Also promise once a week, usually on a Wednesday, you know, reset day, we got plenty of things to do. But I try to stream as much as possible because I really enjoy streaming. It just kind of depends on how much time I've left, considering, you know, making these videos for YouTube. They take around average 48 to 72 working hours on average for the videos. So that's quite a time investment, right? I do want to take a moment to give my deepest and sincere thank you to each and every one of you that have joined me on this crazy-ass journey. If you had told me a couple of years ago that this is where I would be standing right now, I wouldn't believe it. As the music gets way too epic for this moment in the background. But yeah, for those of you that have been around since October last year, you might know that I've had some health issues and some other stuff that I don't really want to discuss. But being able to do this has helped a lot with getting over those moments. And meeting people at stuff like PreachCon, face to face, and people tell you, like, we enjoy your stuff. Being able to go to BlizzCon, and people tell you and discuss lore with you and talk with you, and it's like, we play a minor part, you know? People that's like, oh yeah, I work like night shifts and I just turn on your videos and it makes the night go away. Or I go to bed and I fall asleep to your videos. It's mind-blowing that even one person would watch my videos and enjoy them. And to have so many of you here that send me tweets, send me messages, hang out on Twitch, it's I'll never take it for granted, and it's a blessing. It seriously is. So thank you, everybody. Right. So let's get into the butter of things. One of the biggest questions is asked, like, how can I get into the lore? And if you just want it in text format, there will be a link down below to a forum post that goes way back. If you just want to get into the lore, in a general sense, there's a website called Wowpedia. And this is a go-to source for nearly everybody. If you're looking for information on Bolvar, if you're looking for information on Varian, if you're looking for information on Sylvanas, just type in Sylvanas Wowpedia on Google, you'll get to the Wowpedia page, and there will be list upon list upon list of information that you can browse at your own leisure. Do keep in mind that Wowpedia is a fan website. It is filled in by fans. So always check where the information comes from. At the end of an article, at the end of a sentence, there will be a number, and the number will tell you what the source is. If there's no source, then always doubt what it says. But all in all, Wowpedia has been honestly picking up quite amazing the last few years, and they are really on the ball. So cannot recommend that website enough. But of course, say that you want details. Say that you want to explore the story for yourself. Say that you don't just want the story read to you by me. I've got a... Let me show you. I got a little bit of prep done today. I got like the collection out of the bookcase. So, first of all, for anyone that wants to start in the lore, I'd recommend Chronicles Volume 1, Chronicles Volume 2, and Chronicles Volume 3. These are your Bibles. These are Blizzard's attempt at cleaning up the lore that has been built up over, 2 decades now? And it will give you the most accurate lore description, the most canon lore description. And canon means that it's still part of the official story. Certain storylines that have been built up in the past have been changed, have been altered, are no longer canon. But these chronicles are the latest rendition, and they tell the story from the very dawn of creation till Cataclysm period. So anyone interested in getting the lore, this is a very solid place to start, and it will give you a very solid global overview. In the past, there was also the Warcraft Ultimate Visual Guide. But with the Chronicles, this one is mainly interesting for the pictures. Like, there are some solid pictures in there. Chronicles is a very solid place to start. And then it pretty much comes down to stuff that you're interested in. Right? There is a chronological way of reading things. But it kind of comes down to what you enjoy. One of the earliest books that you can find, and I have a little picture printed out because I only have like a digital copy of this. It's called Dawn of the Aspects. This starts somewhere Mr. Pandaria time. Kalik and Jane are together, so it starts around there. And basically it explains how the Aspects became the Aspects. What is the story behind that? How did they become the Aspects? So if you're into dragon lore and you want to know like what is up with the dragon Aspects, then Dawn of the Aspects is for you. Then we have this one. This is War of the Ancients trilogy. Now, as you can see, this is the archive. It's quite a fat book, but that is with a reason. 2 seconds. That is because the War of the Ancients trilogy is actually 3 books in one. And this tells the tale of the first time the Burning Legion tried to take a bite out of Azeroth. If you're interested, like, it takes a little bit to get into. It takes a little bit for the story to pick up. But once you do, it really reaches some epic proportions, in my opinion. It has the Aspects, it has the Burning Legion, it has Sargeras, it has the Night Elves. Epic warfare, demons. Really, really good shit to read. It's 10,000 years in the past. And yeah, like I said, it's the first time that the Legion tried to take over Azeroth, which is really, really good. Then another series, which is in the more recent time. Let me make some room so I can actually show it all. Right. Starting off with Rise of the Horde, which then flows, and this is indeed a series, which flows into The Last Guardian, which I, for some reason, have 2 copies of. Which then flows into Tides of Darkness, right? And then you go for Beyond the Dark Portal, right? And then you finish it off with my favorite novel to this date, Lord of the Clans. This is the tale of, well, the first book kind of gives it away. The Rise of the Horde, how the Horde was founded, how their invasion into Azeroth played out, how the Alliance was formed, and how then finally Thrall rose up and reformed the Horde. And yeah, this series is fantastic to get a better understanding of the factions. And like I said, Lord of the Clans to this date is still one of my favorite novels that I've read. So those are series, and then it really, really comes down to what are you interested in. It really does. Here we go. Oh boy. Right. I don't have enough room on my desk though, but we'll make it work. Chronological wise, we have Day of the Dragon. If you are into dragon aspects and you like Ronin, that mage in Dalaran that goes like, citizens of Dalaran, raise your eyes to the sky and observe. Ronin has been founded here, together with Verisa. It talks about the dragon soul, and yeah, that would be giving away too much. Now, truth be told, there is a lot of things retconned here with the Chronicles, but still, pretty interesting story. And then we have Night of the Dragon, which, as you might imagine, plays off of Day of the Dragon. Night of the Dragon is probably one of my least favorites. Truth be told. It's special. Let's just say it's special. If you ever wanted Ronin... if you ever wanted to read about somebody leading a raptor army, no joke, raptor army, then Night of the Dragon is for you. Then we have Arthas, Rise of the Lich King. For those of you that are fans of Warcraft 3, and you always wanted to know more about what was going on in the mind of Arthas as he slowly but surely became the Lich King. What about those that were surrounding him? Really, really good book to pick up. Cycle of Hatreds. This plays off the after the events of Warcraft 3, in which Jaina and Thrall tried to make it work between the Alliance and the Horde, right? They tried to keep the peace going. And of course, it is Warcraft. Outside influences will always try to manipulate certain things. Then we have Storm Rage, which sets just before the Cataclysm. Storm Rage talks about how Malfurion made his return. And those that have played the Legion, you might have played Val'sharah, you might have played the whole corruption storyline. You might have heard the meme Simpsons did it first, well, Storm Rage did it first. But still, the way that they describe the nightmare is insane. The Shattering is also just before the Cataclysm, as the title might imply, because it is the prelude to the Cataclysm. This explains a lot of things, like Cairn dying, spoiler. That's not a spoiler, everybody knows Cairn's dead. Magni turning into a crystal, the fracturing of the world and the changing, making Garrosh the Warchief of the Horde. Basically, it explains what happened to the world of Cataclysm before the Cataclysm, right? Another one that had a lot of changes going on around the Cataclysm time period, that is described in the novel Wolfheart, in which Varian deals with the aftermath of being split into two, the Worgen rejoining the Alliance, and another Alterius storyline about Highborn rejoining the Night Elves. Then, and I mentioned this earlier on stream, in my opinion, they took Thrall a little bit too far. This is the novel Thrall, Twilight of the Aspects, in which Warchief Thrall slowly but surely turns into Goel. And, yeah. Like I said, I think they took him a little bit too far. But if you're interested, like, what happened in between the Cataclysm, what happened exactly that made the Aspects unite against Deathwing, and what did Thrall's role play in there, that's a book to check out. Oh, and then, for the final stuff, we have the novel Jaina Proudmoore, Tides of War. For those of you who've played the scenario, in the bombing of Fedamore scenario, and you want to know what actually happened there, pick up Tides of War. It explains Jaina's critical change in character, unlike the game ever could. Then we have Vol'jin, Shadows of the Horde. This book explains what happened to Vol'jin once Garrosh had his crew slice his throat. How he heals up, what is his mindset towards the Alliance and the Horde, and how did he get ready for the Darkspear Rebellion. Then War Crimes, which takes place after Mr. Pandaria. Garrosh has been defeated and kicked out of the Mantle of Warchief, but we still had a trial to go through. They put him on trial. Basically, I would say War Crimes is a really good book to recap on past events. And of course, explain how you flow into Warlords of Draenor. Because they kind of forgot to do that in-game. Then we have the novel Illidan. Which, time-wise, oh god, I think it starts at like the very beginning. Basically, it explains Illidan's mindset, Illidan's plans when it comes to fighting the Legion, how he trained the Demon Hunters, and one of the key elements that I really enjoy about that book is the way that it described how the Demon Hunters came to be. So, if you're a little edgelord and you really want to know more about the Demon Hunters, then pick up the Illidan novel. The details will shock you that they actually dared to go that far. And then we have Before the Storm, the latest novel in the series, although not really, but sort of. Before the Storm, it explains a bit of a mindset when it comes to Sylvanas and Anduin and Azerites, as well as an interesting meeting. Interesting plans. Yeah, I think that's about all I can say without spoiling it. And then this BUT. This is actually also released online for free. These are the two collector's edition novella, which is Elegy and A Good War, which explains the War of Thorns campaign in ways that the game never could. Yeah. You want to know why Sylvanas started the war. You want to know what their plan was, what their goals were. You want to know how the Night Elves fought back. Pick up the book, and it will tell you. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, yeah. For those that are interested in alternate realities, we got more. For those interested in alternate realities in the Warcraft movie, there's, of course, the Warcraft novel movie adaptation. Basically, it's the movie, only better. Oh, that's not fair. The movie does a very good job at visually presenting the story, but the book, it just explains a bit more about the details. Spoiler, in the movie, Medivh is actually Garona's father. I know. Before the movie, we have the novel Duratan, which is basically Rise of the Horde, except it's the Warcraft movie version. Oh, that's my Illidan novel again. That's a manga. That is not yet. Oh yeah. Bonds of Brotherhood is like also for the Warcraft movie, only it's the Alliance side of things. So it's more like, it's not even a full-blown story. It's actually more like a comic. If you can see that, right? And it explains a bit more about the Guardian Medivh and whatnot. Then this little beauty. This is yeah, it's difficult to place on a timeline. It's difficult to place in the overall story. Traveler, and there's also a second part which I still need to pick up. Traveler was designed for a more younger audience than in general. And they decided to get like a fun, swashbuckling pioneer adventure going on. And I actually quite enjoyed Traveler. I really need to pick up part 2 because I want to know how it goes on. And this is an archive. There's like 4 stories within. This is, oh god, what are you called? This is Dave the Dragon, Lord of the Clans, The Last Guardian, and then finally A Blood and Honor, which is written by Chris Metzen, if I remember correctly, which talks about Eitrigg and Tyrion meeting up. But that is not all. Like, these are just the general novels, right? For those that are interested in deep diving into the lore. Maybe you heard me describe something that you're like, ooh, that tickles my fancy. But there is more. Check the forum post that I've linked down below in the description if you want to know the entire list. There are audio dramas on YouTube. There are short stories on the WoW website. There are comics. Warcraft general comic. There's Curse of the Worgen. There is the Sunwalk trilogy. There is manga. There is, of course, Warcraft 3. I didn't even mention that. Warcraft 3 you can play. There are the games. It is, it's a journey. If you actually want to read every little bit that they have, it is quite a journey. But like I said, if you just want a general overview, then just pick up the Chronicles Volume 1, 2, and 3, and you'll have the most basic understanding. Right, everybody on YouTube, thank you very much for joining me here. I hope this this answered one of the most frequently asked questions. And until Battle for Azeroth, I suppose. Oh yeah, I should actually told you this during the upload speech, but maybe I'll just edit this in later on. With Battle for Azeroth, the upload schedule is going to be a little bit all over the place. Like I said, normally it's just Monday. We'll do a lore video, 15 to 30 minutes. But with Battle for Azeroth, as you might imagine, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be faster. Going to be streaming a lot more. So it's a little bit all over the place, but you'll see. You'll see.